Hey, Beginner 650 here with Crazy Cat Airsoft with
the Doctor.
And today we're going to start the first of our series, of which we're going to be looking at different MilSim groups. So mainly American MilSim, MilSim West, and JTAC Airsoft. And we're going to be looking at some of the unique rules and rule sets that they have. And we're going to give our evaluation of whether or not we, as players, like the rules or not, in order to help our local area to see what type of rules we should adopt. So our first topic of today will be minimum engagement distance and the variations between that and different weapons. So let's first look at our diagram here.
Okay, so we got American MilSim.
MilSim West and JTAC. And over across the board, assault rifles are about all the same.
Yep.
They all have about the same, roughly about the same joule limit. Some of them rounded up, some rounded down, but they have about 1.5 joule limit, which is standard about 500 feet FPS. And with all their assault rifles, they do not require any minimum engagement distance, and I like that.
Yeah.
Because it gets really hard to judge that 5 to 10 feet sometimes.
It does, especially when you're running and you have the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah, and additionally, it's really hard to do room clearing with that. So it's definitely a little bit more of the big boy rule set, because it's going to hurt more because you're shooting yourself up pretty close. But I think that, you know, because we're older players, we're also going to aim for the body,
the chest,
not the face.
Yeah, not in the face.
Not in the face.
The moneymaker.
All right. So next category we have here is the DMRs, and there is some variation here. Both
some big variations, yeah.
Yeah, both American MilSim and JTAC kind of up the energy limit to about the 1.8 joule, 1.87 joules, 1.88, about 450 FPS if you're saying 0.2 gram BBs. In American MilSim, they don't really distinguish much between the DMR and the sniper in terms of their energy limits. For American MilSim, JTAC, because they have the lower limits, they have anywhere from a 60-foot to a 50-foot minimum engagement distance. And then the DMRs, which have the much higher sniper level, about 2.8 joules, which is about 550 FPS with 0.2 gram BBs, you have 100-foot.
Which sounds better to me.
Yeah, which means you can't engage anyone from 100. I kind of like, though, more of the JTAC and the American MilSim. Having that lower limit, but still higher than the an AR, lets you kind of be a little more useful in the tighter situations.
Yeah.
So, you know, a 50-foot, it's not that bad.
No. I mean, it won't hurt much more than that.
Yeah, but when you're doing those building the building fights, I think that makes them a little more useful.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, in terms of this, I say American MilSim, JTAC's my vote. You like the American MilSim West, where DMR and snipers are pretty much the same. Yeah, about the same power. And they do distinguish DMR and sniper rules a little bit more in MilSim West, so that works out well there. Sniper rifles across the board are about 2.8, 550 feet FPS limit, and then 100 feet. Minimum engagement rules, all of them with the exception of JTAC, which is 75. And they tend to be a little tighter. But really, what I think the problem happens here is that most people really can't judge 100 to 75 feet.
No, that's really hard to do, honestly.
Yeah, unless you know you're familiar with it. Honestly, I think meters makes more sense to me because I used to run track.
Yeah.
So we got very familiar with this, and you can tell American MilSim. I think they're running a little bit more because that's what the 60 feet is.
Yeah, I can see that.
3. Divide that by 3, you get yards. So. All right, next one, squad support weapons. So your M60s, your machine guns, your saws, 450 FPS. So kind of similar to some of the DMRs.
Yeah.
And they have the associated 60 to 50 feet limits. MilSim West does something a little different. They split up their machine guns. A light machine gun would be your saws, your stoners, your light M60s.
Yeah, SOCOMs.
Yeah, so they're going to have basically the same limit as a assault rifle, and they have no minimum engagement distance, except I think they're not allowed to be used full auto inside buildings.
Yeah.
or close buildings, I think less than so many square feet. Then what they have is with a two dual limits, which is about 420 or 475, so really much up there with the 50-foot
minimum
engagement distance, and those are their medium machine guns. So that would be when we used to have our machine gun be the full Vietnam.
Oh.
Or the M240 Bravo would be allowed to have a higher FPS limit, and they would have to be mounted. So you have to deploy the bipod and have them stationary.
Oh, okay.
So basically, they're going to be these heavier guns and stuff for that, and that has a 50-foot. Of these rules, this is definitely one of the biggest variation. I think I really like MilSim West.
Yeah.
They really do a good job of making the machine gunner role really vital and very unique.
Yeah, which it should be. I mean, they're an integral part to a squad.
Yeah, and
cover fire and supporting fire.
I think they do a really good job of creating that role.
Yeah,
because they also require that all assault rifles also be single shot, semi only.
See, I like that a lot. The only problem is enforcing some of that. At some of the fields, obviously, you're going to need a lot more refs, a lot more check-in time to make sure you're chronoing everybody's gun.
Yeah, in which case you have multiple chrono stations.
Yeah, exactly.
For that, and these events also last longer, so
yeah,
it's not that bad of a deal, and they zip tie all of them, so it's actually very doable to actually ask all the assault rifles to do semi only unless they're a machine gun.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's easy to do.
Yeah. In which case, there's going to be a whole different debate of whether or not the MG36 should be allowed.
Yeah, that's
always an interesting one.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so that's our evaluation. In general, all these have very similar rules. We do kind of lean a little bit towards the MilSim West, particularly with the squad, their squad automatic roles, the machine gunner roles, just because they do a unique twist on it, and they do add a lot more value to that role.
Yeah.
So, and that's our advice there. Your field owners, you can mix and match. These are just our feedback, whether or not we like these rules. So MilSim West, we say, if we're going to say who's the best one, I would probably say MilSim West.
Yeah.
So, Beginner 650 here.
And the Doctor.
Have a good day.